Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode on Glory Reds FC. I'm with my boy, Pastor D. What's good, my guy?
All is well, all is well. What's happening, man?
Man, we have a good one. We have a good one. This one is a season recap. We are about to dive into everything United, the Premier League, how we fared so far, what we think, what we expect. We're just gonna have a very chill vibes, and just gonna bounce some ideas off each other.
Yeah.
So man, yeah, man, yeah. This one's gonna
Alright.
be a nice one. I can feel it
I can feel it too.
because I know for sure that you have something to say. You have a lot to say. You've been burning like this episode has been burning a hole in your chest.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this is the time where you're going to be like. But yeah,
Hmm.
man, this one there's no particular order. We're just going to take it from wherever.
Yeah.
And you know what, they just
All right.
what are your thoughts so far? Let's just because we don't want to confuse ourselves or try to find a fancy way to start this. So
Yeah.
just let's
Nah,
go.
I hear you. I hear you. So I want to start from the beginning, right? And then everything else
Mm,
will just follow through. And I want to start
all
from
right.
the end of last season, actually. Because Ten Hag, he had his
Interesting.
first season. All of us were happy with him when he came in. We didn't get off to a great start, but everything else that followed through after he seemed to get it right with the team was magical. We seemed to get the
Yeah,
players in that we wanted. Even in that January transfer, we got, Sabitzer and Veghorst, everything was looking towards the right direction. We're literally at some point even talking about winning the Premier League. We were title contenders. We were not far off number one, right? We were looking at not only the Premier League, but FA Cup. We're looking at Europa, because we went far in the Europa League, the
yeah,
EFL Cup, Carabao Cup, which we eventually went and won. So things were definitely looking positive. We were heading towards the right direction, right?
mm,
And
yeah,
mind you, last season we did have a couple of injuries, and we did have a couple of players that didn't play.
yeah,
Namely Sancho. He had his injuries and he had his mental thing here and there. We had Palestri. This up and coming player that we're waiting for him to. I think he was on loan or something like that. But you know what I mean. We sent some players out
yeah,
on loan as well. We're really excited for them this season to be integrated properly into the first team. And then obviously we had our introduction of Ganacho, who came into that first team after he wrapped up his stuff with the academy league, and he was straight away integrated into our team. And at that time, we didn't even like need him, so to say. It
yeah,
was so weird how he just became part of that first team and just added so much value to the squad, and everything was looking very positive, right? We go on the break, we come back from the break, we have preseason, everyone is excited, everyone had a very nice international break. Like things were just, on the up and up. Everything was lovely. We had the World Cup where a lot of the players went out there and they shined. You know, we were excited. We were excited for new signings, etc., etc. So of course the transfer window opened, and United, hyping us up, for things. We're looking to get a striker, we're looking to get defenders, we're looking to get a CDM. Things didn't go our way, and that should have probably been our first red flag, but we sort of just ignored it. We ignored it because
no,
of
no,
success
we
we
didn't,
had in the
we
previous
didn't,
season. Yeah. Okay.
we didn't.
Before I continue, yeah, go
No,
ahead. Chime in.
we
Chime in.
didn't ignore
I
it.
don't. I don't want.
We
Look, I don't want any point to go like forgotten or miss. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
mind
no, we didn't
coming
ignore it.
in and
We
telling you.
didn't.
Okay, I ignored
What
it.
what what
I
well
igno-
what we sort
I
of
ignored
did
it to
was
a
like
certain extent. Okay, yeah,
uh
go ahead. Yeah.
what we sort of did was like just it was something that we do often at United. It
Yeah.
was it was a norm. So it was very
Yeah.
easy to ignore it or
Yeah.
like just to let it slide. That's why. But
Yes.
we questioned it because we knew
Yes.
like
Yes.
Jose Mourinho went through the same thing. Like managers have gone through this thing where he's had a good season and he needs backing,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't get the backing, and then things just for some reason everybody else is strengthening their squad. And mind you, this season everybody strengthened, even Nottingham strengthened.
Mm.
You know, and okay, I don't know if we strengthened. I don't know if you can say our signings were strengthening our signing, like
Yeah.
our season, but you don't have that confidence. Like it's a fail. Like it was a poor transfer window, and
Yeah.
we
Well.
did talk about it. We just
Yeah.
it was just easy for us to ignore because it was something that's very normal at United. But yeah,
True.
man, please carry on.
Yeah. So like you said, like I don't think like we knew the extent of it, but like you said, because
Yeah,
it's a norm, I didn't think
yeah,
we. It's only during the course of this season where we actually saw how much it affected this team because of
exactly.
coming off the last season and also
Yeah,
because of the injuries that we picked up straight from the beginning of the season. That's where it became a huge problem. Like I think if we never had so many injuries in in this first part of the season, it would have been a much bigger issue than what it currently is right now. If we still had the same
yes,
squad from last season, I still believe we would be struggling, but not this much. Like we'll
not this
definitely
much.
would have won more games than what we have currently won and drawn
And
more
drawn some
games exactly opposed to the ones that we lost. So
lost.
because we had
Yes.
that terrible transfer window, it's come back to bite us hard in the ass.
Mm,
And now we're
mm,
really feeling the effects of it. So yeah, preseason
mm.
comes along, everything is all well and good. We go off to America. Already that preseason is a shambles because of the colliding dates with teams that we're playing and where we're gonna be playing these fixtures. Because I mean just from America to Spain, you know what I mean? Back
Nah,
to
they
back to the
travel,
UK,
bro.
we
Ah,
traveled, and most of these players were coming off the World Cup. And I remember during the World Cup,
bro.
we're literally praying for some of the teams to get knocked out just so that the players could have a break. Like we
I
were
remember that.
shitting ourselves when England was going far. Like, of course, we're like low key happy for them, because most of the African teams were knocked out anyway. So there was really no one
Mm,
left to support, right?
mm,
And
mm,
England is going far. We're thinking about Rashford. Oh, he needs a break. He's been playing almost every single game last season. He's had a good
mm.
season. We need him to take a break. So going into this season, we have, him fit and ready for this season. And of course, I don't know if this current form of Rashford is a result of, last season going into World Cup, then back straight into the Premier League and not really having enough time just to rest and recuperate, and he's just mentally worn out, you know, and he just hasn't had enough time to like settle down and collect himself again and bring him back, and not to necessarily say back to goal scoring form or that sort, but just to playing, you know what I mean, consistent good football. Besides the goals and the assists that is lacking this season, just be playing consistently well, right? And then,
Mm.
of course, we had the Argentina team going to the final and winning. We had players like Martinez, very crucial, very important to the United side. He played a whole break of football, right? So he never really got any chance as well to rest and
Mm.
recuperate and all of that. So yeah, so anyway,
And
um,
remember, he actually went. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he ended the season injured.
yes,
Like
he
he
did.
didn't really.
Yeah.
I think the FA Cup. Like we didn't. I don't know if he played. Like the FA Cup final. There was something like
Yeah,
towards
yeah.
the end of the season. Martinez was like there was
Yeah.
something up.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
remember
yes,
that.
yes. He
Yeah,
did get an injury, and yeah, it was looking really bad. And that injury was a result of being overplayed because he was
yeah.
playing in the Premier League, in Europa, in FA Cup, in
Every fucking
Carabao. These players were not getting a break, and because we never had the squad depth, and I think
yes.
Ten Hag really wanted to achieve a lot with the side. He didn't want to risk like second rate players. And I'm not trying to disrespect any of the players, but he just always wanted a consistent, good squad.
No, but D, you also need to take into consideration at the time. like there wasn't any other defender. Like
Yes.
Maguire was not in the form that he's in right now. He was terrible, Maguire. So there was no looking to Maguire, and he had
Yeah.
already started his little beef with the manager, whether he's going to go or whatever. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, not beef, but with the manager calling him out, saying that listen, it's in his hand, you
Yeah.
know. And who else was there?
Lindelof.
The only defender was Lindelof,
Yeah.
and he's actually one player that I think we've not given so much credit to,
True.
in terms of how he came in, fit into the squad at the time that he did, because he had stayed long periods of the season not playing,
Yeah.
just playing bit by until that moment when there was an injury issue, and he
Yeah.
stepped in and
Yeah.
he fit in so perfectly, and he managed to stabilize us. And that was like one of the, like, we don't give Lindelof enough credit for what he does for United. That guy,
True.
Iceman. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I
Oh,
agree with you. Yeah.
before you say that, you know that preseason period, dog.
Yeah.
I have this thing where I call it like one of those. I call it the Bermuda Triangle or this Loch Ness monster. These mysteries that I am
Yeah.
still trying to understand, because something happened during that preseason
Yeah.
coming into the start of this season that made us have a bad start, because
Yeah.
it made no sense. D, you, like, we had a conversation where we were talking about Sancho,
Yeah.
where to us Sancho looked like he was electric.
Yeah.
Now, when we were watching him at the time, every other player also that was playing during preseason looked okay.
Yeah.
Now, if the manager is going to come here and say that no, Sancho is not bringing in the levels, which means preseason was literally a smokescreen. Like, if there was one time that you can never ever trust preseason, which obviously we do, but obviously sometimes we try to get a sense of certain players to see where their fitness is or how their
Yeah.
attitude is or if they're on form or whatever. We use that to gauge that. But we always say that we don't take preseason seriously, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, you look at that, at this current, that, like, the preseason that we had decent games, like, based on how the Mason Mount coming in and blah blah blah, and not having everybody fit and not have everybody in at the same time. You would think to yourself like, huh, man, we look okay. We were looking okay. And
Yeah.
then we were waiting for the likes of Rashford and them to join in. They joined in. Of course, then that's when we noticed, the first time we noticed that, man, the scoring has dried out.
Yeah.
But it was like, nah, this is just a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah.
This guy will get back to it. And then it continued.
Yeah.
And then it continued. And then it continued. Then the Prem starts. The boys look absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
Like, they look like they're dragging their feet. And you ask yourself, wait, can you explain something? Because you guys, there's something here that you need to explain. What has
Yeah.
happened? What is preseason? Isn't preseason to get fitness ready? Like, are we not supposed to be getting these players fit? I remember Conte, when he got into Tottenham, he made those guys run like dogs during his
Mm.
preseason. You remember?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
Fitness is preseason. You will never get another chance to get your fitness in during the season, because during the season there are bigger issues to deal with. You can't really get into tactics and all that stuff. That's what preseason is for.
Yeah.
So if you're going to look okay during preseason and then look absolutely terrible when the season begins, where it actually matters,
Yeah.
then there's something that you guys are not doing right, something that you guys are not explaining to us. But mind you, I have picked it up. Like,
Yeah.
it makes no sense. It really makes no sense. Unless I'm tripping, unless maybe all these games that have been brought in, all these changes to football that are happening, maybe they've
Yeah.
contributed. Maybe these boys are slowly fatiguing, like their fatigue is coming at a very slow pace. Maybe, I don't know. But if that's the case, we need to address these things. No, we need to address these issues. We need to address these things. We need to sort it out. We cannot have a season. Last season he started off bad because, yeah, he didn't have some players, whatever. Then he picked up momentum. This season again, we want to start off bad again, regardless of the situation. Like, okay, yeah, we are missing players. That's one of the biggest miss. But man, nah, man, nah. They need to explain that to me. That's why I'm like, it's like the Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot. It's a mystery that needs to be addressed. Like, I know we're gonna ignore it, then it will repeat again next season, and then we'll be like, okay, what has changed? Maybe they'll go off to a flying start. Maybe they're going to start off slow again. When are we going to be that team that gets off to the fly? That was United. United, we never used to worry about the first day, right? Whether
Yeah,
we're playing on the Friday, we're playing on the Saturday first game, or whether it's on a Sunday, or whether it's on a Monday night football. What first game, whoever you are, good luck.
yeah,
Like you're getting it. You know. Now we are worried. We're worried because we're not sure if the nah that yeah.
yeah.
Please carry on.
Nah, I hear you. So here's my theory on that, right? And now this is
Please.
the main players at Man United. These guys have been overplayed, and this didn't start last season. This started with Ole. Ole overplayed these players until injury, right? Because Rashford was coming off a severe injury
Yeah.
before he started the first season last season with Eric Ten Hag because he was being overplayed. And even um what you call is coming into the season, right? He was coming off an injury because that prior season he was injured, came back into the squad, played while he was still injured, and then made the injury worse. You know,
Aggravate. Oh yeah.
exactly aggravated it even more. So I think it's just the case of some of these players have just been playing way too much football because you can argue and say, oh, what about the other teams and what about the other players? Well, the other teams and the other players, the managers manage them, right? They weren't playing 90 minutes out. When the game was won, the managers took out the players. And even sometimes when the game wasn't won and he needed to change tactics, managers were pulling off some of their best players, right? Because they knew that with this new football schedule after COVID, there's way too much football that these guys are playing. That's why they
Mm,
introduced that five-man substitute system because we needed to have
mm,
more rotation of the players, right? And some people were against it because they're like, oh, that's unfair. Because then what about the bigger teams like Man City, who can now bring five options off the bench where we don't even have those five options to come off the bench? But look, it literally hasn't made any difference to the football, right? Because it basically just balances itself out because of the number of games that we are playing. So I don't want to put any blame by towards anyone or whatever, but I think it has to be shared. That blame has to be shared amongst the manager and the players, right?
mm,
So Ten Hag should have benched some of the players more or taken them off more last season instead of playing them 90 minutes into extra time every single game without giving them a break. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Anthony, Juan Bissaka, Diego
mm,
Dalot, all those players, Martinez, Varane, Casimiro. You understand? Casimiro was just injured, came back, played a half, re-injured himself. You understand what I mean? Because he wasn't given the adequate time to recover. And yes, I know we have injuries, and yes, I know that we needed to start Casimiro. But what's the point of, you know, risking it, re-injuring the player, and now he's even out for even longer, right? Because now his injury has been extended by weeks. So imagine if he just missed that match, right? He could have been properly fit and available for this Copenhagen match, or
yeah.
even skip this one and come in for the Luton match just before the international break, right? He would have had maybe a better chance of seeing out the 90 minutes and then having that 2 week break to recover even more and then come back after that. But instead, he was rushed back and then he got injured. Same thing with Martinez. He didn't really fully recover from his injury last season. Rushed back into the beginning of the season, re-injured himself, and now he has been out for basically the entire first part of this season. which is really bad for us. So yeah, so like you said, you know, um, we noticed it in preseason. The goals were not being scored. It was like a bit worrisome, not worrisome, because we're like, it's all
Mm.
good. When the season starts off, we're gonna
Preseason.
go back to scoring, right? Because last season
Yeah.
we were scoring goals. We were like what 4 goals every game. It was just like you know what I mean? Like, things were just happening. You
Last
know what
minute.
I mean?
Last minute.
We're not
Ah,
used
hey,
to these things. You know what I'm saying? We're not used
bruh.
to just goals coming in banga after banga. So
I'm telling you.
it was so exciting. Like, yo, I've like almost every single game week, United fans were just happy, ready with their posts. Every
We're
time we
excited.
scored a goal, would post on our status another one. You know what I mean? And then we'll go score another one. And then we'll go score another one.
Another one.
And then we had that meme of that United fan in the bed, fam. Yo, that meme made its
Keep it like with a
rounds.
smile.
It made it rounds. Last season, you knew Man United supporters, fam. We were out and loud. But this season, we're back in our caves, fam. We are completely
Hey,
back in our caves. But yeah, man, we started off the season not too well. We didn't stress much because of like it's just the first, second, third game. But I think it really showed when we played Spurs and we lost. Because I think that was our first challenging match of the season. I think when we
break
lost
up
that
call.
match, there was a huge call for concern because at that point, we thought that Spurs were not going to have a good season because they lost Kane, they lost their manager. There's this new manager who has come in. They lost a couple more players as well. We took Regulon off them as well. Oh no, that was before. I think that was before because at that time both of our right and left backs
It
were
was
playing.
still during the window. Yeah.
It was still
So
during the
I
window.
yeah.
So at that point, we were comfortable in the fact that yeah, Spurs is that team that on a good day we can comfortably beat them. You know what I mean? So I think when we got rocked by Spurs, that's when we're like, nah, this is an issue because they still Arsenal to face, City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, right? And we know Chelsea with their big squad. So I think that's when alarm bells started ringing
And
harder.
not to forget Brighton, Aston Villa, and
Yes.
Newcastle. These are new additions that
And
are
these are new additions, right? And the last thing that we wanted was a repeat of last season where we started off
mm,
to a poor start. But then
mm,
eventually we managed to get things going. But the difference is last season, if people can remember, Ten Hag started that trusted centre back pairing of Lindelof and Maguire. He didn't start last season off with Martinez and Varane, and that's when United fans started throwing their hands in the air. What's going on? Why did you buy Martinez if you're not gonna start him? Or got Varane? Stop pulling all their things. And then he dropped them completely. I think it was after the Brighton loss, either after the Brighton or the Liverpool. Then he was like, "Nah."
Brentford. It
It
was
was after
Brentford.
Brentford, sorry. Then he was like, "Nah, I'm dropping Maguire, I'm dropping Lindelof," and then he started playing Varane and Martinez, and the rest is history, right?
The
Then
rest
from
is history.
the rest is history. From there, they secured the spot, and that's how it was. So yeah, man, start of the season comes along, everything's looking a little bit shaky. We've got our new goalkeeper. We've been upset because we lost David De Gea. Yes, we trust Ten Hag. We hear the reasons why he brought Andre Onana, but he just wasn't living up to those expectations that we had, right? Because we thought, okay, cool. We're not happy that De Gea is being replaced, but at least it's a keeper that is making noise in the media. At that point, we even thought his price is justifiable, right? We saw
Mm,
all the highlight reels. Everyone was okay. You know what I mean? Yes, we were upset, but we're not upset as we were, let me just say, 4 game weeks ago, right? Four
mm.
game weeks ago, everyone was like calling in their regret cards. We shouldn't have got rid of De Gea, all of this, all of that. But beginning of the season, we were willing to give him a chance. We were willing for him to prove
I
himself
mean,
to us that, yes,
yeah,
this was a right
yeah.
move. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And like I said, everyone was still 100% behind Ten Hag. You know,
And
no
and
one
D,
switched sides. Yeah.
like that Onana and David De Gea situation, that thing was forced on us. Like that thing
Yeah.
was like a take it or leave it. Like it's your
Yeah. Yeah.
business. Like
Yeah.
and if you wanted to hang on and get pissed off and say, "Hey,
That's
one
your
David De
beef.
Gea," like that would be your business. Like,
Yeah.
and like if there's me as somebody that loves Eric Ten Hag, if there's one thing I do not like that I'll say with my chest, I do
Mm.
not agree with it. If there's one ick I have about him is the
Yeah.
fact that he got rid of David De Gea the way
Yeah.
he did. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I can give.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way I can show how much I loved David De Gea, how much he means to us, like
Mm.
to United, and the way
Yeah.
he was treated leaving, like
Yeah.
it was not. And I'm all like, here's the thing: I never wish um bad on somebody. I'm not wishing Onana to flop.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Because if he flops, my club flops. I flop.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I because I loved David De Gea, it's almost like I'll be like, Gaffer, if this guy disappoints you, like I'm not gonna defend you on that
Yeah.
one. It's like you wanna be on your own. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That
my
was your
loyalty
call.
there. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was your call. You didn't
Yeah.
consult me.
Yeah.
You didn't consult my feelings. So
Yeah. Yeah.
nah, you deal with the scrutiny and everything that's coming at you for
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
alone. But yeah, man, like man, that David De Gea situation, man, that was a cock up, man. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, but it was just another one of Manchester United's cock ups in a long list of cock ups they've done over
Yeah.
the years, like
Yeah.
selling players that shouldn't be sold, getting rid of players that shouldn't be getting gone rid of,
Yeah.
keeping players that should be going. Just this weirdness at this
Yeah.
club.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It was an absolute mess because you know the transfer window wasn't closed. We got rid of Fred. Scott McTominay Maguire didn't want to leave. We never yet you know what I mean?
our saviors.
Exactly. We hadn't yet replaced Ronaldo. We're still trying to finalize the Hoyland deal. You know, um, every other first option that we had just seemed to just jump to another club.
Disappear.
Yeah, yeah,
Bruh.
yeah. Our options all went to Bayern or they went to Liverpool. Like none of the first option players that we wanted, we managed to seal the deal. We're now looking at Gravenberg and what. It's like every single time we just heard like, oh, this club last minute wants to get rid of this player, United were on it.
Just give
It's
up.
like they never had a game plan. It's like they're just waiting to see who the other teams had in excess and didn't need, and then that's when
So
we found that opportunity to jump onto it. Like, oh, okay, well, made up our mind for the season. We don't need Regulon. And then United hear those whispers and they're like, how much? How much? You know what I mean? That's literally how it was. Look at Gravenberg, last minute thing. Those those are the type of insights we're supposed to have long time ago. We should have
mm,
already been on the Gravenberg thing last season, right? If he was a player that we genuinely wanted, then this should have already been on the table for us, right? It
mm,
shouldn't have been a last minute thing of, oh, Ericsson is injured. Oh, we need to go and get another CDM who is available
mm,
now. You understand what I
mm.
mean? Oh, we couldn't get Gravenberg. Or who's the other midfielder that was supposed to get? Was it
McAllister was also another one.
McAllister? He went to Liverpool. Caicedo, he's gone to Chelsea. You know?
Caicedo, we wanted him before he went to Brighton. When we wanted him when he was still in Colombia, Ecuador,
Yeah,
wherever
yeah,
he's from.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, and
You
bro,
know,
when I think about it, I'm like, "Yee,
it's madness.
United."
It's madness.
Like the guy, like he was, and I can't explain it because
Yeah,
it was so hot.
yeah,
Like we were supposed to get Caicedo for I think 10 or 14. Like he was around the same price as Danny James at the time. Like we were about, look at how much he costs.
yeah,
Look,
yeah,
look.
yeah,
And when he started playing for Brighton, he started to regret. Bruh, can I just say this before, because we're in this thing of talking about midfielders.
yeah.
But another midfielder that we have like really cocked up was Bissouma.
Yes, that one. I was
Bissouma.
actually about to bring that
Yves,
up. I was about to bring
Yves
it up just
Bissouma
now.
is one of my biggest regret. For me,
Yeah,
that guy gets into any team in the world. And I know
yeah,
that's a very strong statement, but I can back it up. That guy is a monster.
yeah,
He is the new age Ngolo Kante, like the
yeah,
new improved Ngolo. He is proper.
yeah,
and we fucked that up. D. We messed that up.
Yeah.
That was a deal that United could have done a while ago when he was
Yeah.
still at Brighton.
Yeah.
Like Brighton was a club that we were supposed to be doing shopping a long time, like so that we get friendly with them, so that when we want somebody, they'll be like,
Yeah.
nah, these are our boys.
Yeah.
We're not going to slap them with this big price. Come, who do you want? All right, now we've got somebody better. You know,
Yeah.
you, they have got that good footballing scout.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Anyway,
No
I just
worries.
had to
No
bring in
worries.
that
Yeah.
Bissouma thing because I watched him yesterday
Yeah.
against Chelsea. Him and Sa
Okay.
are, to me, my personal opinion,
Yeah.
are the best midfielding pairing in the Premier League right now.
Really?
I am not joking. The way they work together,
Yeah.
the way they play together,
Mm.
because they're the base of the two, and one is sitting, and Sa is the one who's like the workhorse. He's like the box to box,
Yeah.
but Isuma has got a very controlled box to box. He's like the holding, but bro,
Yeah.
they are the best. I
Yeah.
know there's people like Rodri and what I'm saying
Yeah.
like working together with. We don't have that at United right now. We were hoping Casemiro, Amrabat, or Bruno, Ericsson, or whatever. We don't have it.
Yeah.
Liverpool, I don't know if Sabotslai and Gravenberg have got that thing going on, but nah, it is not the same as Bisuma and Sa. Those
Yeah.
guys cover the field. Like, when I watch them play, it
Yeah.
almost feels like they're like, that guy from Fantastic Four, that stretchy guy.
Yeah. Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, like it feels like they're in one place on the pitch and they just stretch their limbs
Yeah.
and reach out and do stuff. Like that's how I see when they play.
Yeah.
They are on point. But this is not the Tottenham show. This is Glory Reds
Of
FC.
course. Of course. So yeah, where was I? Beginning of the season, things are
Yeah,
looking bad. Players are getting injured on like a game on a game basis. Like every single game, it's a new injury. It's a new injury. We're not sealing
like
the
flies,
deals.
like just falling like
We're
flies.
literally at the point of like dropping our morals, right? And saying, nah, man, Greenwood just has to start. You know what I mean? All should be forgiven. Let's just leave boy alone. Let's give him a second chance. You
That
know what
one
I
is
mean?
coming back.
You know what I'm saying, fam? We were that desperate. We were that desperate because of the number of injuries that kept accumulating and accumulating and accumulating, you know? And then
Mm,
I don't even know which game I can point to, right? Where I
mm.
can say that that's when we knew for certain that this season is going to be a problem. Like right now, we're in big trouble. I don't know which loss it was. I think it was to which team did we lose to? It was before Crystal Palace. Which team we
We
lost to?
lost to
Like
Brighton.
no, not Brighton. Yeah, I know we lost to Brighton, but there was a team we lost to. And then I think for me personally, that's when the alarm bell started properly going off in my head. Like, oh
We
shit,
lost Brighton. We
we're
lost to
actually
Arsenal. We lost to
Spurs.
uh, Spurs. In fact, Spurs was one of the earlier games.
Yeah, it was one of the earlier ones.
Brighton, Spurs, Arsenal,
Mm,
Crystal Palace.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
lost to Crystal Palace,
yeah,
and eventually Man City. Yeah, those are the five losses.
yeah. I think it was probably the Crystal Palace match. That's when like the Crystal Palace match in particular because that one was like the last winnable game because afterwards, I think that's when we're playing. It could have been before. Bayern could have been before, but it was somewhere around that area of we're gonna have a tough like run of fixtures, and that was
Mm.
almost like that we need to win this one to keep the momentum rolling, but we
You
didn't.
know the weird one. Like for me, I didn't. Okay, I wouldn't particularly say that I was worried. I still had this um fan love. Like, now we're gonna do this. We're gonna
Yeah,
eventually do this. I started noticing that Rashford is not going to be the same very early.
Yeah.
And I mentioned,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember I brought it up very, and I wanted to bring it up early
Yeah.
because I wanted so that we get into opportunities or times like this where I can back myself and say, nah.
Yeah.
I knew that there was something up because with Rashford the last season,
Yeah.
there was a way in which he was doing things. Man,
Yeah.
if my listeners watch how our players behave, watch their facial expressions, watch their energy,
Yeah.
watch their aura. Me and D always talk about we knew that Pogba was on it when he was on the bounce.
Yeah.
Martial, when he's smiling and he looks like he's electric, you
Yeah.
know that he's on it.
Yeah.
Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? One Bisaka, his last ditch tackle, you know that he's on point. You know, there are
Yeah.
certain things about certain players that you just feel the energy. And I felt Rashford's energy earlier on, and I was like, nope, this guy is going to be a problem because
Yeah.
our whole thing, like our whole summer, was centered in bringing in a striker, a striker we have not had for years. Like this was the big story
Yeah.
that Manchester United are bringing in a target man,
Yeah.
somebody who they are going to be feeding. We've always known that United strikers have got a graveyard shift. They don't receive, they don't get deliveries, none of that. So
Yeah.
we thought, we're bringing in a new striker. Maybe these players are going to change their vibes or change their tunes to try and make the new sign in settle in well by by feeding him balls to score. You would assume that that's what was going to happen. You would assume that Rashford was going to take over. Like, yeah, we get like last season we depended on Rashford. Like
Yeah.
all our goals, majority of our goals came from him.
Yeah.
But there were other players that were brought in to help him to take that
Yeah.
load off.
Yeah.
You understand? So we were
Yeah.
all having that expectation and thinking that, you know what, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And from the get go, even before this new striker was in, we saw Rashford, we saw uh Anthony. Did he start the season or was it
Anthony,
Garnacho? I forgot.
Garnacho started and Anthony started as well.
Oh, Pelesti, whatever. One of the I
Anthony
forgot.
started. Anthony started.
Then I noticed right away that Rashford is not on it. Like he's trying too much. He's he has gone back to default settings. Like
Yeah.
this Rashford was Rashford, not the past season, the season before. That was Rashford.
This is the normal Rashford. This is the
This is the normal
normal
Rashford.
Rashford.
Yeah,
Last season was
the one
not the
that gets
normal Rashford. Last season
no
was, he took a couple
COVID,
of sensu beans.
Rashford sort of,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because COVID Rashford also scored a lot of goals. That
Exactly.
was a very good season for COVID Rashford and COVID Martial. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
so there was just that thing, and Rashford has contributed. And already for me, I just thought like, oh my god. And I think it was against Arsenal
Yeah.
where I was like, right, Rashford, this is your team.
Yeah.
Like you like a game against the Gunners. You enjoy it. Like you always do something against the
Yeah.
Gunners. You're always on it.
Yeah.
What's happening? What's happening against
Yeah.
this Arsenal side that's not as strong as this Arsenal side, the one that started last season. This
Yeah.
Arsenal season, like this Arsenal right now, they're very tame. They're not as strong or as scary as people think they are. They're not. It's
Yeah.
just that there's that mentality that they are like last season, and they are winning games, of course, and
Yeah.
beating teams. But the level of intensity that was there last season has definitely dropped at
Yeah.
Arsenal. So when I was looking at that game, I was like, all right, this is an Arsenal team that we can beat.
Yes.
Rashford, you're getting yourselves into positions. Why are you, one, not passing?
Mm.
Two, why are you overthinking? Why are you going back to that person that was criticized and didn't take criticism very well and
Yeah.
sunk even deeper into that whole thing?
Yeah.
Why are you putting yourself into that position? But then people were not criticizing him. The only people that were getting criticism were the foreign players. And I remember everybody else was getting criticism. I'm like, how are people not talking about Rashford? How?
Yeah, yeah,
I kept on mentioning. I kept on mentioning. No, he will provide an assist or a goal. Cool, we get that. But then, are we going to leave him all game when like he and you see it? It's visible. Like this guy is not as smiling and happy like last season. Last
yeah,
season was, like you just see it. So I was really like baffled at how I was not like how it took people time to notice that Rashford is not at his best. And immediately people were quick to forget about the attackers and then immediately go on to our whole defense system when they know that that is a cheap shot because all our defense was injured. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like the majority of it.
yeah,
Like how many players were Luke Shaw,
yeah.
Varane, Martinez, Van
One
Bissaka? The
one
whole fucking
Bisaka
back line was
gone.
out,
Mm-hmm.
gone.
Malasia
How
as
do you
well.
Malasia,
Our backups were also injured.
bruh,
In fact, Delo also had a niggle injury. It was a little minor injury that Delo had. Luckily,
look,
when he got fitness, that's when Wan Bissaka got injured. So,
exactly.
we were just fortunate. And then literally, yeah,
And
because we never had a left back. Everybody was injured.
yeah,
That's how we ended up
yeah,
getting Regulon. Because we literally
yeah,
had no one to start in that position,
yeah.
And then when we eventually sealed the deal for Amrabat, Regulon gets injured. Then we had no left back
And
again.
comes
The
injured, one of the
replacement,
two.
yeah, the replacement got injured, and now our new signing had to fulfill a role of an injured player. Like that's how bad this season has been, and it's so shocking how some United fans do not want to see the facts in front of their eyes. You know, they absolutely do not want to see the facts in front of their eyes that the injuries this season have cost us games. And yes, we can put an argument and say that there were some games where the injuries shouldn't have affected us that bad and we should have gone out there and carried a win. But the facts are the facts. You know, we needed these players in some of these big matches to make an absolute difference, especially in the bigger matches. Because if you think about it, there's no team right now that has got the sort of injuries that we have. There's no team that
No,
has the whole back four line and one of their strongest holding midfielders gone for the first third of the season. All of them have like
bruh.
minor injuries here and there that have been replaced, and they've had replacements for those players, and they can comfortably. I mean, look at Arsenal, for example. They've got Jorginho, they've got Partey. They brought in who's this other one I'm forgetting? It's Jorginho, Partey, Declan Rice. That's the one. Declan Rice,
Mm.
Partey, and Jorginho. Three. Three of them. Partey is
They brought
injured.
Basmat.
Yes, and Partey is injured and they're still fine. They brought Timber from Ajax. Timber is injured, he hasn't been playing, but it's fine because not like they even
Fine.
used them last season. So their back four is still sorted out until they get Timber back. So Timber, it it's not even really an issue. They can't come out and say, "Oh, but we have Timber injured," but you guys never had Timber last season. So
Exactly.
it's really been a terrible headache for us. But anyway, so transfer window closes. We managed to get in Altai Binyenda, goalkeeper. We managed to get Rasmus Hoyland. We managed to get Amrabat in the last minute, which is not even a buy; it was a loan, you know. And I think that's basically it. Maybe we got a couple of younger players in the academy, which I can't remember, but transfer window was definitely not a great transfer window. And then
And
yeah,
did you mention Mount?
sorry,
Did you mention Mount?
Mount is the first signing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm basically talking about the signings that we sealed like last minute, like the
All right.
last
All right.
minute signings that we managed to pull through, which in any
Okay.
case didn't really count for anything because
Yeah.
Rasmus Hoyland also came to the club injured. You know, he also never started straight off the bat. Mason Mount got injured early into the season. There's
Mm.
no the only player that we got who hasn't got injured so far is Andre Onana. All our other signings got injured. Ericsson was also injured. He was also a player that we couldn't use, and he was very crucial to our side. and
Mm.
clearly he's not yet back to 100% fitness. Marcel Sabitzer, he's a player I thought United were going to keep, because I thought he was a very good addition. I was thinking, okay, we're going to keep
I actually
Sabitzer
thought so
and
too.
we're going to get rid of McTominay or something like that. Because honestly, in hindsight, I'm actually very disappointed that we got rid of Fred, because Fred was like our modern,
Bruh,
he was like our modern day Anderson. You know what I mean?
bruh,
And
oh Herrera.
or Herrera. You understand? So very disappointing that we got rid of him and were unable to replace him, because he really played a huge role in the second half of
Last
our
year.
season. You know,
Ah,
when we
that's
had
another
when,
person.
when we had
See how
Ericsson injured, he
mm,
played a huge role in a lot of our wins last season.
mm,
And it's such a shame that we let him go. We let go of what's this boy, Anthony Alanga. We let go of him to what you call it, to Nottingham. And I feel like United got rid of, and I'm not saying that Anthony was a prolific player, or a player that we sorely miss. But I do believe that he could have become that player that was going to be very useful off the bench, an asset like Pelestri. So getting rid of those type of players first before the other players was just, it was disgusting. You know, Ahmed came back from a very good loan what you call this?
Sunderland.
Yes, exactly. We thought, yes, someone to come in and challenge for that Anthony position. He also picks up an injury. So we've been riddled with a lot of injuries, right? The beginning of the
Mm,
season didn't live up to our expectations. Like, we had high expectations for this season.
mm,
And it just dwindled game after game after game, which now leaves us in this current state. But before we talk about this current state, like, what were
mm.
your expectations? Because like I said, I had high expectations. I thought going into this season, we're going to be fine, regardless of our shit signings. I thought we'll still be able to keep our heads above the water. I thought by this stage, we should have at least been in the top four. We should have been somewhere in that top four conversation. We shouldn't be. I didn't expect us to be out of the top four. I didn't expect us to be eighth. Worst, probably fifth. But I honestly thought we would be in top four, competing for a Champions League place, right? And looking at the
Mm.
transfers that we made, I knew that we're not going to be able to challenge for the Premier League, but I thought it was good enough for us to qualify into Champions League, for us to be in the top four. But yeah, what are your thoughts, man? What are your expectations of this season?
Honestly, I won't lie to you. The way we came in, because I kind of predicted a situation where everybody's gonna turn on the manager because of certain things that are happening in the club, which could have been fixed if, let's say, the Glazers and all, like the Glazers had sorted the team or sold the team or something like that. Like, I always believed that our season was going to be determined by how good our summer is. And in terms of getting the players that he wants. You know what I mean? You look
Yeah.
last season. Yes, last season he didn't get um, his first draft picks, but he did get some expensive players, but he did get some quality players into United. Quality that we actually needed at United. Because you look at Martinez last season, Martinez was a revelation for United. Such a small man to be able to I have not seen a better ball playing defender in the Premier League than Martinez. I know. Like, I'll wait. I'll wait. Varane, obviously, we knew he's got the experience because when we looked at him, we were like, nah, he is Champions League material, elite. Casemiro, we knew that he was out of favor at Real Madrid. That signing, we accepted it because it almost seemed like it was the only player that they could get because they were not looking at anybody else. You know, I always believed that the players that we get, or the players that the managers get, are usually the best of what the hierarchy offer.
Yeah.
Like, I always felt like I still believe that till this day. I still believe like they come up with the signings. It's not like the man. I have this belief like the manager has got absolutely no choice. The only thing that he has to do is he has to find ways to make their vision work. And I think maybe this has been the problem of a lot of Manchester United managers.
Yeah.
So I look at the Mason Mount situation. I mean, that till right now, that thing splits the fan base. We still don't understand why we got Mason Mount. Now,
Yeah.
football enthusiasts will be like, no, but we get it. Mason Mount has got a certain quality. And lo and behold, the manager emphasized, he talked about it. Now, is that him as the manager who's like told them that this is the player that I want and I want these attributes, blah 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 blah, or these guys picking the best, like picking the players that he can get, him identifying the qualities in the player, and then talking about them and expressing that this is what I need. Like, I always feel like that way. Like you look at Amrabat and all the midfielders and who else? Anthony. Who did we want before Anthony, if I'm not mistaken? I think we wanted Cody Gakpo.
Yeah.
And
One
there's a
Gakpo. Yeah.
story,
And
bro. There's
Nunes.
a crazy. I don't know if you've seen this crazy story.
Yeah.
Um, that's coming out that Ajax warned United about signing Anthony. Like 2 days, they were like, "Oh, eh, you can't be buying this player for this much. Like he is not worth that much. But
Yeah.
because you guys want him,
Yeah.
take him.
See?
Like this, we're not gonna stop you. Take him." But they were telling them that this guy is not worth this much.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah. So now, okay, he coached at Ajax. I get it. Maybe he was
Yeah.
trying to bring in his, maybe it was the wrong timing. Maybe it was all that stuff. But then
Yeah.
he did get these players. And I always
Yeah.
sit there and think, are these the players that he wanted? Now, already, because my mentality is like, I don't trust that these signings and all these things are the managers. This is what the manager wants. And this is
Yeah.
what all these things. I start to have concerns,
Yeah.
So I started to think, ish, maybe it won't work. Because I remember there was a time when I was like, United right now, the Glazers are trying their best to try and paper over the cracks,
Mm.
and the fans, we're just gonna go through this season. When shit starts hitting the fan, the Glazers are going to be forgotten because right at this very moment we are supposed to be, hey, Glazers out, Glazers out, Glazers out. We're not doing that because they're force fed us. Like we're back to routine. These guys
Yeah.
know us. We are their subjects. You know what I mean? They know how
Yeah.
to control us. They know that if they do this, we'll just fall into line. And that's exactly what they did. We fell
Yeah.
into line. We just said, okay, we'll trust that our manager will do this. Trust that the manager will do this with what players? With what players? The players that he wants? Does he have them? No. But then why do we seem to ignore like these things? Like, when was the last time? Like, honestly, when was the last time United manager got first pick signing, like the signing that he wanted and
Mm.
got him at that time, not prolonging, not doing whatever, just getting the player that he wants, and
Yeah.
like and us United fans being convinced
Yeah.
that this manager wants this player. I'll wait. It's been a
Mm.
while,
Yeah.
So you look at that now. You're going into the season now. You think, okay, when shit hits the fan, everybody's gonna forget the Glazers and everybody's gonna turn on the manager, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Everybody turned on the manager, and they seem to forget these very small fundamental things that we're talking about right now. D.
Yeah.
This thing of us missing players, I would like people to stop minimizing it. Stop making it look like it is not a big deal because it is a fucking big deal.
Yeah.
Those players are important to United. Stop making it look like, nah, we are still supposed to be winning. We are still supposed to be. Nah,
Mm.
we've
Mm.
always talked about the drop off of the quality at United. The first
Yeah.
team goes out, then the manager starts bringing in substitution, then there's a drop off.
Yeah.
Most of our players are injured right now. Now we are dealing with the drop off. Like,
Yeah.
why are people not looking into that? Like, I get it. It's frustrating. You look at the manager. The manager is going to pick players, do formations that just drive you crazy. That's just part of the roller coaster, just part of the journey.
Yeah.
But then the fundamental things that you should not forget is that we are plagued with injuries. Like, it's a
Yeah.
fact. It's not. It's not a myth. It's not a myth. It's not a mystery. Nah, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Our best left back, Luke Shaw, who is arguably one of the best left backs in the league, injured.
Mm.
Martinez, I think last season was arguably one of the best centre backs. Him and we were, because they were
Yeah.
the best clean sheet defensive pairing. Finished. That
Yeah.
back line was on top of its game.
Fort
Now you
Knox.
puncture. What do you expect? You change the rhythm. You change. What do you expect to happen? This season, man, we've been, man, like this season has just been mental. And then you take into consideration how many games they're adding, the time, like, with these VAR adding 10 minutes, 20 minutes into a and a half. Like, what do you expect from these players? Like, you want to
Yeah.
ride this wheel until it falls off? Nah, nah, nah. So
Yeah.
for me, I was already concerned. Like, I was uneasy. So to answer your question, D, I won't lie. I didn't really have specific expectations,
Yeah.
because I knew that there were so many things that had to come into play for us to be where we need to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things were not met. So because they were not met, I had my reservations, because I knew that, and as much as we try to do whatever, we will not get there if the manager doesn't get what he wants. So the expectations, honestly, for me, I didn't really have. But I did give a very bizarre prediction.
Okay.
I did say that we might go very far in the Champions League. We might even end up winning it.
Yeah.
You know? Now, when I think about that statement, that was, I think, right before the season kicked off, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where we were expecting, based on the preseason, this was before the Wolves game. Like,
Yeah.
the Wolves game, after that, that's when we were like, oh, whoa, you know. But the prediction is already out there. And I
Yeah.
remember I came back and I was like, hey, D, I think I want to change. But then I don't
Yeah.
know, I got that confidence, that United, that Red Devil blood thing
Yeah.
pump into my. I'm like, nah, we will. But nah, we won't.
Yeah.
We won't. We won't win the Champions League. If we
Yeah.
win the Champions League, it'll be one of those things like Leicester City winning the Prem. You know what I mean? One of those
Mm.
bizarre, major glitch in the matrix kind of
Hey,
situation
man.
where Bayern Munich miss Leroy Sané, Kane for the rest of the season,
Yeah.
Kim Min Jae. Like, everybody is just injured. Everybody everywhere in the world is injured, and United is not. Like, supposedly we are just getting back. That's the only chance
Yeah.
I can say that, yeah, maybe, you know. But
Mm.
yeah. So I didn't
Yeah.
really have expectations, my guy.
Yeah. Now I hear you.
Yeah,
And you spoke a little bit about VAR. Let's talk a little bit about VAR this season because it's been a shambles since the first
bro.
game. Since the first, not even game, I want to say games because as much as we want to believe that VAR has only been shit for United, it has been shit for a lot of
For
teams.
everybody,
For
everyone.
everyone. Everyone,
And D, what
every
did we say
manager.
beginning of the season?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And we called it.
We
We called
we
it.
called it,
We
bro.
said VAR this season.
Watch out,
Watch
watch
out.
out.
Watch out. It
And
is
they're
going
not
to,
disappointing, bro.
yeah, they're not disappointing. They're not. And then the consistencies, it keeps getting wider and wider and wider. And you don't even know where the line is anymore because the way they are so far past it is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. And the
No.
funny thing is, it's decisions that just happen um that coincide with exact situations, right? So, for example,
Yeah.
the Arsenal Newcastle, when the ball rolled off and then it was counted as the ball was in, and then the same thing happened to United, and they said the ball was out. You know,
Nah.
the Andro Nana goalkeeping situation, the penalty situation with Liverpool as well, coinciding incidences happen exactly the same way. One was called, one wasn't. Penalty decisions on ball to hand in the box, one is called as a penalty, one is not. And it's so
Bruh.
funny how most of them coincide in the same game week. The same game week. One ref on one side of the UK will call it a penalty or a free kick or whatever, and the other one on the opposite end will say, "Nah." You understand? So,
Hey.
and the thing is, you think to yourself like, do these guys have like a conference for themselves, with the
Mm,
boards, and recap everything that happened during the game week and say, okay, these decisions that were controversial, let's have a second look at them, you know? And if they honestly did fuck up, why can't they just come out and say we fucked up, right?
mm,
And the reason why I think they're not gonna do it is because they never thought these occurrences would happen so much. They did it in
mm,
the first game week. They came out and said, we apologize. We're supposed to give a penalty with the under and under situation. These officials will be suspended." And then they realized that shit, this thing is happening every single game week. We can't be suspending officials every single game week. So now we're just
mm,
not gonna do the suspension thing, and we're gonna figure out something else, you know?
mm.
So the consistencies of VAR have just been absolutely appalling. Now, the technology, in my opinion, is good. It's fair, it works well. The problem is the people who are using the technology are just like, do you even know and understand how football works? The problem is with the guys using VAR and the calls that are being made. Because honestly, I would I would rather have VAR in football than not have it for very close situations, things like offside. Did the ball cross the line in the goalposts? Did it cross over the line? Was it a goal kick or a corner? Those type of situations, right?
Even sneaky handballs.
Exactly, handballs and stuff like that to replay those type of decisions. We need it, right? If we remove it, I think because we've got used to it, you know, I think there'll be more chaos if it's removed. Because now it's going to be like, nah, go to VAR. And they're like, nah, there's no longer VAR. And like, but we saw it cross the line. They're like, had it. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you didn't want it.
It's what you
You know,
wanted.
that's what you
It's what you
wanted.
wanted.
That's what you wanted. We you could have won the game, but you didn't want VAR. The official didn't see this player was offside. Are they? You know.
Mm,
So I believe a lot of the decisions, for example, the Scott McTominay goal, that probably would have been counted if there was no VAR. There's gonna be no screen. There's gonna be no one in anyone's ear to say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 let's have a look at it." Because when that
mm.
goal was scored, no one complained. The Fulham players did not complain. No Fulham player
Yeah.
had their hand up and said, "No, I think this was an
Even the
offside.
guy,
Could you please
even the
review
guy
it?"
that yes,
You
even
check
the
what I'm
guy that
saying?
Maguire supposedly impeded didn't
Exactly. He
complain.
didn't complain.
Like,
He just accepted it. Sharp. You understand what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like now I have to go to VAR, and everyone's wondering, what are you going for VAR for? Are you going for the
mm,
offside? You know, I don't even think anyone thought that they were looking at the impeding situation. I think
mm,
the thing that was on everyone's mind was it's probably an offside. You check. And then we saw that, okay, Garnacho's not offside. And it just felt like, nah, we can't give United this goal. We need to find another problem. Like when the police stop
bro,
like when the police stop
bro,
you and they see you have your
that's
seatbelt on, and then they're like,
ah,
nah, fam, this guy, we need to catch him. And then they
that's
start
exactly how I felt about
dude,
that decision.
fam, it's like they're searching for a decision not to give us. They're like, nah, let's
Eh,
slow it down and let's look at every single United player. Let's see who did what and this and that. And then they just found that Maguire situation, like, look, 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 look. There are two players that fell down, a United one and a Fulham player. Let's see how we can make something out of this. And you're like, nah, man, fuck out of here, man. You guys are looking for a reason not to give us that goal because your first thing was this thing is offside and you found it wasn't offside. What more do you
mm,
want? Because if it was a case of the impediment thing that stopped
mm,
everything for them to go to VAR, that would have been the only thing that they would have checked. But the first thing they checked was for offside. And then when they never found the offside, all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, but then there's this other no. You know what
uh-uh.
I mean? You guys showed us VAR on that big screen for offside. You check. Ganacho was not offside. What more do you want? So I
Mm,
honestly believe, and I know this may sound like a witch hunt or a conspiracy theory or whatever, but I believe deep down that there's
mm,
no way that you check for VAR, right? That's your first call to say that this goal cannot come because of VAR. You see that the VAR decision does not go through, and now you want to search for something else. There must be someone
Mm,
in that box who is just anti-United and is just like, nah, we need to find something. Either they were paid
and,
or whatever. I don't want to assume
and
the worst. I don't want to say that people are mafias in that office or whatever, but it just, man, it just has that
see,
feeling, fam.
I don't know if you've noticed also, like there's no pushback. Like there's not been a
Yeah,
pushback from United, like as a club or even
yeah,
the fans. And it's not like because we don't want to, but we just know
yeah,
that we're just always going to be subjected to these unfair decisions
true.
because there's this myth that Sir Alex Ferguson was controlling the referee board
Dudes.
back in the day, like he was the boss, like like he had Howard Webb
Ah,
on
fam.
on payroll kind of thing, and I'm just
Dudes.
like, really? So there's this image, like there's this
Yeah,
thing around United with
yeah,
the officials where it's like we're not even allowed to question what they do to us. And
exactly.
then you look at every other club, everybody's complaining,
Fam.
everybody's stripping, like everybody's just complaining, like, nah, we're not gonna have this thing. Like
Yeah,
that was unfair.
yeah,
Like I don't care what you say,
yeah,
that was unfair.
true.
Muniz even fouled Harry Maguire, for God's sake. Like he wasn't trying to get the ball.
Yeah,
He was just trying to stop the player.
yeah,
How is it that we, who are even thousands, not even at the pitch, we
yeah,
are thousands of kilometers, we're watching on our TVs? How
yeah,
is it that we can see that this is not a foul
exactly.
and you still going? And then you have the nerve
Mm,
to come and tell us
yeah,
this new terminology that you're bringing
fam.
out of your ass, that it's
Subjective
subjective.
offside.
What offside? What? Where did that come from?
Man, it's like
Like,
they
like,
created the rule on the spot.
bro, oh,
Mhm.
subjective offside.
Yeah,
Okay,
mhm.
so United is just the club that has firsts. Everybody
Mm,
comes create history with us.
yeah,
So we are also now in the history of VAR of being the first team to have a subjective offside
yeah,
handed to them. Like what nonsense is this?
dude.
Like, bruh, for me, the PGMOL, these referees,
Yeah,
they need to be accountable just like everybody else. You know,
yeah,
this football thing, the fans, the managers, no, sorry, the fans, yes, because the fans, they
yeah,
need to behave. The
yeah,
fans are not allowed to misbehave when they go to the pitch.
yeah,
The players, of course, they are the players. They get there, they do that. The manager gets scrutiny.
yeah,
The 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 managers get red cards and yellow
yeah,
cards just like players.
yeah,
Referees, we understand that they're there, but then they have created a system that they are failing to control.
yeah,
And because of that, they need to be accountable for that. There
yeah,
needs to be a situation where we are also criticizing them, where they, man, I think referees should also be getting red cards and yellow cards. If they're not able to handle or control a game,
yeah,
these guys who are at the top need to decide that now we need to get this guy out. Just bring in somebody else who's going. I know that sounds crazy, but the way football is going and the way these guys are pushing their their rules and their new stuff on us,
yeah,
we need to also now have a pushback where we're like, okay, you guys are giving our managers red cards. Like
yeah,
you guys want them not to be there pitch side with us to
yeah,
motivate us. And everybody else is being fans when they misbehave, they get banned. Like
yeah,
everybody else around football is criticized. The owners, the what, every single person,
yeah.
but not the referees. The referees are in this bubble where they are untouchable. How is that?
Hmm.
How is that? Every other sport, all these referees are accountable. I think there's some leagues where you, if a referee, if you do bullshit, you get trapped.
Yeah, yeah,
They'll
yeah,
move you.
yeah, yeah,
They'll face you.
yeah.
That's just to keep the order. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But we're not condoning it. But you understand what I mean?
Nah, I hear you.
Why don't we have that?
Yeah,
Bruh,
man.
no, man.
Let me read something real quick. This is from the Mirror. Yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, man, this is gonna sound absolutely absurd. So the article goes as follows. Yeah, I'm not gonna read from the top. I'm just gonna um talk on a certain abstract over here. So it says,
yeah.
according to the IFABS latest laws of the game. I don't know how latest these laws were implemented, but anyway, a player can be penalized if they are an sorry if they are in an offside position and become active in the phase by doing the following. Yeah. Number one, preventing an opponent from playing or being able to play the ball by clearly obstructing the opponent's line of vision. That's number one. And
Uh-huh.
the ridiculous thing I find about this is the last line, obstructing the
Uh-huh.
opponent's line of vision.
I thought the only person we can obstruct is the goalkeeper.
Exactly. Because that means you're being penalized throughout the whole game. That's what it
Hey,
basically means. Because you're always going to be obstructing the opponent's line of vision. When you're trying to run and get the
hey.
ball, you're running with the ball, or a player is crossing over, at some point, you're going to be obstructing someone's vision. So, how can they even go and put that as one of their things that that coincides with the
Back
law
up.
is beyond me. And to even this first one there, how it's so stupid is because when you look at this corner kick, the opposition defender is on the back of Maguire. How is Maguire supposed to know that this player is behind? And how is he supposed to know he's
Exactly.
obstructing? And if Maguire is
And
bigger than the player, is it his fault now
eh,
that the player is shorter and that he's obstructing his vision?
actually, it should have been a penalty in anything because that guy kicked Maguire.
Exactly.
Nobody touched the
Exactly.
ball. Maguire was going for the ball. It,
Hmm.
if you're trying to be technical,
Yeah. Now,
it
now,
should have been. Now they won't give it because he was offside.
exactly.
So, uh,
But yeah, man. So let's go on the second one. So the second one is, it says, or challenging an opponent for the ball or clearly attempting to play a ball which is close when this action impacts on an opponent. So basically, when you're in the line of vision, right, and then you clearly attempting to play the ball which is close when the action impacts on the opponent. Like, it's just, oh
but
man,
that is rubbish. That is
it's
just
rubbish.
jargon. It's
It's just
nonsense.
exactly. And then the last one
It
is,
shouldn't
or
be.
making an obvious action which clearly impacts on the ability of an opponent to play the ball. So if you're both challenging for the ball and then the opponent doesn't get it, it's all of a sudden in the favor of the opponent because he wasn't fast enough to get to the ball. How is that my problem?
How does that
If I'm
work?
better than him in the air, if I'm quicker than
How
him on the
does
ground, if I can get the ball faster than him, and in that action I obstruct his vision, whose problem is that? If a through ball is made and I run in front of the player and I'm faster than him and he's running behind me and he can't get around me to get the ball, is that my problem? Is it my fault that I'm bigger and faster than him? This rule is dumb. It's dumb. And the things that back this rule to say, oh, this thing must occur in this order and whatever is very stupid. Because when you go back and you look at that decision, when you go back and look at the replay, he comes and commits the foul on Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire
thank you.
did not get the ball. None of them got the ball.
Exactly.
None of
Yeah.
them. Because if anything, those be like, okay, fine, you guys will get a free kick, right? But then that's if the ball goes out of play and it doesn't actually reach Garnacho. You understand? Then maybe
Mm.
I can maybe see your argument there or whatever. Harry Maguire fouled him, but Harry Maguire didn't even foul him. The opposition is the one who fouled Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire put himself in a better position than him to receive that ball. So yeah, man, this IFAB latest law, dude, it's just it's the
I know
weirdest.
it's nonsense. It's rubbish. I don't. These guys always pull these cards out
Yeah, yeah,
when they are mixed in a situation. Like when
yeah,
they're always in a situation, they try to, and like nobody can verify these things. Why isn't
exactly.
anybody trying to verify these things?
Yeah,
Like come out and say that okay, these are legit. And how up to date is this rule book? Is it now or these laws from
dude,
back then?
dude,
Are they newly written laws? Who
this
wrote these laws?
this is the
Can you come
latest.
here and yeah,
And
because we are
it's
watching football
yeah,
with the basic knowledge that we have and we are trying to visualize it. Now you guys are
exactly.
there behind busy trying to complicate it with all these rules so that you can control it. And come on, nah, man. I don't buy into all these rules and all that bullshit. I don't. Section 11 dash what says the opponent needs to be in the air in order for section E cross B must fuck that.
Yeah.
Nah,
And you know what's
nah. I
what's
don't.
funny is the managers themselves look confused. And if anyone
Ah,
should know the rules, it's the managers. The managers
bro,
should be updated before the new season kicks off and says, look, these are the new rules. So when these things happen, we don't want to hear you guys complain. You understand? But
bro,
why does every single manager just seem very bewildered by like all these new things
no.
that come up? Like, wait, what? Subjective? What?
I I like the way Arteta
Fam.
went at
Oh
these
yeah. I
guys.
loved it. I
Ooh,
absolutely
I was
loved it.
like,
Yeah.
come on,
Mm-hmm.
bruh. I was happy. He was man. He was like, fuck out of here, man.
I don't want to hear
This
it.
is football.
Dude.
Football in this country, in Africa, in Asia, in
Dude.
what. There are certain things that need, like, if you are saying that those things are the rules, cool,
Yeah.
fine, and then we don't need to carry on this conversation. I
Exactly.
liked it.
Dude.
I fucking like it. If you're saying all those things are goals and what,
Mm.
then let's move on because you're not gonna get anything from me.
Exactly.
Because fuck that.
Dude.
Where in the world is what you just allowed correct?
Fam.
And just it's funny because the English Premier League is like
The
the
biggest.
greatest league. But
Yeah.
then for him to to even say, to compare and say that football in Asia, in
Yeah.
America,
Exactly.
everybody are in unison with this thing. Like, how
Yeah.
is it that you guys are the only people that think that this is a goal? How?
Yeah. Yeah.
When a lot of things, you look at yesterday's game with Tottenham and Chelsea,
Mm.
there was a goal, and then there was like some injury in between, and I like how they dealt with each situation accordingly, because one situation led to another, you know, and they said, okay, offside cleared. Now let's go back to that incident that was a red card. This is a red card. This nigga needs to
Yeah.
go. Boom. They did it in bro. So it's like, nah,
Yeah.
VAR, man.
Nah,
VAR,
they
man. They
can.
can piss.
And the
Like,
thing that
I'm not.
irritates me is the their go-to answer. No, the angles. You're like, what angles? Like, no, you're just seeing it from one angle. Show us which angle then we should be looking at it from, you know? Because I remember one of our matches,
Bro.
we said something about the angles. Like Eric Ten Hag is like, nah, fam, how did you guys make this decision? And they're like, the angles. You just didn't see the angles. I'm like, what? And then the Arteta situation with Arsenal, same thing. They told Arteta that no, the angle. And you're like, what angle? They're like, no, from that angle you're looking at it, it looks out. But from this other angle, it looks in. Show us that angle where the ball looks in. You know what I mean? Why are you not showing us that angle? Every single angle that we've seen that you guys are showing to us clearly shows that that ball was out. So yeah, man. Anyway,
Mm,
that was a little VAR segment. Let's move on. So cool. Current state of
mm,
United, like we've got over this, expectation hurdle. We've accepted that we're not gonna get the signings that we're supposed to get. We've accepted that this team is just not gonna be the same until um the core players of this team are back from injury. And we're now in this state of limbo. And I'm gonna call it a state of limbo because we don't know if we're here or there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we haven't drawn any matches this season. It's either we've won or it's either we've lost, you know? And some of the wins haven't even been that convincing, right? Some of these wins, it has been so close, eh, last minute things, literally. We could have lost, we could have drawn, but we ended up winning a game. So going into every single game, we're still in a state of we don't know where this team is at. We don't know if there's progress. We don't know if that was a once off. We don't know if we're really as bad as our last game because we can have an absolute shit of a game and then go and beat, like for example, we're having a terrible start this season for scoring goals, goal drought. And then we go and play Crystal Palace and we beat them 3-0. And we're thinking, okay, cool, we're back to goal scoring ways. And then come weekend, we lose to them 1-0. And like, okay, what's going on? We play Bayern and we managed to get 2 goals in, right? They beat us 3-2. Oh, well and good. Cool. Then the next game, we go and lose again. And it's like, are we coming? Are we going? Like, what's happening? Right? So even as we speak, tomorrow we're gonna be facing Copenhagen in the what you call it, Champions League. By the time you listen to this episode, we've already played them. But we're going into this fixture with the unknown. We just don't know what's going to happen. I was looking at the team that's going to be traveling, and it's more or less the same players that have been playing for the past 5 game weeks. But even that does not give us any indication of what's going to happen because this team is completely off form. There are some players in this squad that a lot of the time we don't know what's going on with them. They'll be caught on the team that's traveling, but then they won't be on the bench. You know, certain players that didn't leave that are part of the first team, we don't know where they are. Like for example, what's happening with Donny van der Beek? Like for real, what's happening with Donny van der Beek? He hasn't been on the bench, and then one game you miraculously see him on the bench, but then he's not getting any game time. We don't know if he's fit. We don't know if he's injured. We just don't know anything about the player. You know, who have players from the academy like Forsen. Sometimes he's in the team, sometimes not in the team. Or players like Shaya Shoyentire. Sometimes he's in the team, sometimes he's not in the team. Like what's going on? Pelestri is another name as well. We just don't know what's going on with some of these players at the club. And the news has become so fragmented that we just don't know what to believe and who to believe anymore. And I'm not trying to take any shots at Eric Ten Hag, but he has come out a lot of the times in the press conference and said things, and it just hasn't transpired. This previous game against Fulham, he clearly came out and said that Varane is fit and ready to start, yet is on the bench and was starting Evans and was starting Harry Maguire. And even with the Evans thing, it's like we don't even know what the situation is going to be with this player because when everyone is fit, is he still going to get game time? Are they going to extend his contract? All these like looming unanswered questions, and obviously what's going on right now with the sale of the club, and next transfer window, it's probably going to be a whole new team because now we're getting information about Sir Jim is going to take over the football operations at the club when that deal has been like done and concluded and everything like that. What's his philosophy in the transfer market? How is he going to stabilize a lot of the things? Because we're hearing all these stories about he's going to bring back reform to the club. What does that mean? Does it mean we're still the scouting system still remains the same, but we're just not going to pay in excess money for players that we want? Does it mean we're not going to pay excess salaries that we usually do? Like we don't know really what's going on and what's going to happen, right? And United, I think over the years, our biggest problem is we've always been going for these name players, these, high profile players, these players that have a good season at a club, and then we go and jump on them, i.e. Rasmus Hoyland, oh, up and coming kid, let's go and get him. Oh, this player has been good for so many years, Cavani, Igalo, Cristiano, Casimiro, Ericsson, Varane, the list goes on. We just go and get those type of players. Like there's no proper scouting system that's embedded in the club. Look at Man City across the street. They just brought in Jeremy Doku. This guy is just dude, his numbers are ridiculous. I don't even know where they got him from. Who is this boy? Where did they get him from? Alvarez, they brought in Alvarez. He's just been scoring bangers after bangers. He's flying under the radar. You know, how was City able to go into the market and get these gems while we are chasing all these big names and paying big money and putting them on big wages, and we're not able to get this team together? Why don't we ever get these like players that we've never heard about and have actually come into the team and done something, right? A lot of these players that we haven't heard about and have been brought into United haven't had an impact, you know. Fred, when we got Fred, yes, he was relatively known because obviously he's Brazilian. And I don't know that time when we got him from that Ukraine, was he playing for a Ukrainian team? Was it Shakhtar or something where we got him from? Yes.
Shakhtar.
Like yeah, he was good for them. You understand? But at the same time, we just didn't know what to expect from him. Victor Lindelof, no idea where we got him from. You know, I only started to get Victor
Benfica.
Lindelof more when he was at the club, right? Eric Bay, you know
Benfica.
what I mean? He's also another player that also didn't really know so much about, but then never really came and had that impact that a lot of these other clubs have. So yes, we do get these players that are not big names. We do get them into that club, but they're not having such a big impact on the squad like Liverpool will go and get Diaz, you know, and he's a very impact player in the team. You know, they'll go and get all these little gems from these clubs and they come and have a direct impact on the team and they do very well. We're at United that when we go and get these players are not big name players, don't have a big effect on the club as the other clubs do. Now, I don't know if that's down to the players themselves that are just not of that quality, or it's just been down to the managers who have been managing these players that we've been bringing in. So, would it have made a difference if we had Eric Ten Hag 5 seasons ago when all these players came in, the Freyrs, the Victor Lindelofs, the Eric Bays, you know what I mean, etc., etc. Would they would the team have been different? Would there have been much bigger impact players in the team? Harry Maguire wasn't really known, you know, in the football scene. The only time people knew of Harry Maguire was when England was playing an international match. He had one great season. And then all of a sudden, United are chasing for Harry Maguire. You understand what I mean? So it's like we only chase after these like small name players, you know, that'll have like one great season. And now all of a sudden we want to chase after them without sort of us doing our homework and seeing is this player actually fit for Man United? Is this what? Is this what? It's almost like we just want to get the player just so we can stay popular, just so we can be in the conversation. You know, like when a new sneaker drops, you know, you may not be a sneakerhead, but you just want to have it just so you can be, oh, I also have the Air Force One. I also have the what. I also have the Air Jordan. But you don't really understand or know its value and when to wear it and whatever. You understand what I mean? And now you're parading around in an event or you go somewhere where that sneaker is not even in, you know, has got no relevance to what you even plan to do with it. And I feel that that's how it is with United. We've, man, the signings have just been absolutely horrendous, you know. So going into this next transfer window, I want us to be way more smarter about it. We shouldn't just go and get these big names and you know chase down these players and whatever. There needs to be a much better transfer system in United, and I really hope that Sir Jim is going to be that man to turn things around and work hand in hand with Eric Ten Hag, you know, and have those type of conversations of who do you want? You know, let's forget about the commercial side for a minute, right? We don't want to go and bring in a big signing just so we can sell shirts. Oh, let's go and get Victor Osimhen because he's going to sell shirts. Let's go and get Victor Osimhen because he fits into your system and you'll be able to deliver on what you want to get out of this team. So yeah, man. But what are your thoughts on this current state of United and you know how we're going so far?
No, man, I think you said everything. I don't really have much to add, but what I can say is, when you started to talk about the signings of the players, I felt like it was emphasizing my point of like these managers are not buying players that they want. It has never been like what you explained. Literally, was
Yeah,
what I was saying. That I don't think that the manager gets his players. You if you want to compare to other clubs, Man City wanted Doku, they wanted Grealish, they wanted Rodri, they wanted Alvarez, they wanted Gakpo for reasons. Sabotslai, they've put those players, and those players are shining. These are players that the manager has picked, saying that this player is going to play there. We at United, we buy the player, like the club buys and says, all right, we bought
yeah,
you a player, deal with it. So
yeah,
like that's how I feel. And I don't think I'll ever change until I see, because if they do change, we will
yeah.
notice the change in terms of the way they're doing their transfer stuff. And I like that towards the end you mentioned, because everything that you
Mm,
said was spot on, you know? So, like you said, like with Sir Jim, like I really hope him coming into the squad, like he's going to bring a change because we know our club. So if you come in there and think or pretend to make change,
Yeah.
we will call you out. We will know. Make the real change. Like make real change. Don't man, there's a lot that's going to change. He's got a like he we're really
Yeah.
going to be paying attention. And like the thing is we
Yeah.
know our club. Our club goes through this what do we call it? We call it the 2.5 year
Yeah.
or 3 year cycle, where we go through a season where they spend
Yeah.
unnecessarily and a lot the wrong places for the
Yeah.
wrong competition, and then we do okay, and then the next season we make it to the right competition. We need those same kind of investment. We don't get it, and we just fall into this cycle. There's this cycle that
Yeah.
goes on at United. So yeah, man, I'm just hoping with Sir Jim. Like my expectations right now is I hope the club has noticed that they've put the fans
Yeah.
through a lot. They've put the fans through the most. Like everything that has happened this season has not been nice. Like it has not really been comfortable being a United
Yeah.
supporter. And we are still here. So he really, and if he really is a United fan or boy or whatever, he really needs to look at this club with care. He really needs to take care of it with care. Like I don't know what relationship he's going to have with the gaffer, but he really needs to ask that manager the players that he wants and go and get the players that the
Yeah.
manager wants. Like go and get them. Don't go back. Like United will continue this cycle if we keep on not giving our
Yeah.
managers what they want.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Because instead of progressing, he's going backward. How is he? You understand? So yeah, my expectations on in United's progress are solely based
Yeah.
on Sir Jim because he's the face of the footballing side. He's like the Ed Woodward, like he's the owner, like he has shares, but the way it is being like the way it's looking like he's going to be the face of football of United. Like all the decisions, all the signings, like he's
Yeah.
taking the reins. So all right, like if you're gonna do that, cool. Don't adapt. Don't bring that Glazer thing. Like if you've noticed the problems that we've been going through as a club, please come with a mentality
Yeah.
of change. You want to come there and support the manager. We don't want to put the manager in a situation, in a precarious situation where everybody's
Yeah.
turning on him. No, give him. Let the manager sack himself. That's how
Yeah.
I always see things. Let the manager sack himself. Give him the tools. Give him everything that he needs. Lampard, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Give the manager
Perfect
what he
analogy.
needs, and let him
Yep.
sack himself. But then you put him in a situation where he's
Yeah.
already sacked. Like he's already doomed to
Yeah.
be sacked. Like how are you giving him a
Exactly.
fighting chance? Like how are
Yeah.
you trying to? Nah.
Nah, I hear you.
So yeah, man. So Jim needs to come and bring in the change, and then I think
Yeah.
maybe then because I'm hearing that with the Jim coming in, I don't know how long that will be because the transfer window's coming up, and I keep hearing that he wants to bolster the team during January. And I'm trying to think, okay, like who do you want to bring? Like that's so crazy
Yeah.
that I'm asking, who do you want to bring during the January transfer window? Because I'm not used to it. Like it's a getting a transfer window during the winter is like seeing a
True.
unicorn for United.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's a new thing. So I'm surprised. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
to myself, who? Okay, we do like we did like this past few times with Vekost and Igalo. But those were different
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
situations. You know what I mean? But then, like, to actually say we're going into the January transfer, like treating the January transfer window like
Yeah.
the summer. I don't know when was the last time we
Yeah.
we ever did that. So I'm hearing that he wants to do that. Cool. If you are doing that,
Yeah. Do
man,
the
do
right
the right
thing.
things.
And I think
Like do the right. Just
yeah,
don't.
and I think
Yeah.
what's also important is players leaving as well. Like it's not about us getting players, but also players
Yeah.
leaving. We have a lot of excess players that we need to
Exactly.
get rid of, and we just keep adding more to the list because now we've got Johnny Evans, signed a deal, and thank God
Thank
it's
God it's
1 year.
one
But
year.
again, it's like, what are we gonna do now? Because we already have defenders in excess, and there's a lot of defenders that we don't need. And same thing goes for the midfield as well. So it's who are we looking to get rid of? You know, because these players that we're supposed to get rid of are now putting in a shift. So, what happens now? Like, so the smart thing to do is okay, because these guys have brought the value back up again, we actually have a proper argument to sell them for the price that you guys initially wanted to get rid of them before that other clubs, sorry, were chirping about, right? So maybe before other
Mm.
clubs were saying, nah, that is too much for Maguire. Now we can be like, but have you seen what he's been doing of late? You know, he's worth the
Yeah.
30 now.
Pinging.
Scott McTominay is now worth the 30.
Yeah.
So I think the mistake we'll make is because they've been playing so well, it's like we want to reward them for the rest of the season. Like, oh, okay, we wanted to get rid of you, but because you're playing so well, we want to keep you to the end of the season. And then they're going to be a problem for us going into the next season as well. So we shouldn't fall into the
Yeah.
trap
Because that form
of
can get.
these guys are performing.
Mm.
Like we're grateful for it, but unfortunately, you guys are just not in our plans moving forward. It happens. It happens in the best.
And they were given
Exactly.
ample time.
So January, we should Ten Hag should even let them know from now. Say, look, I'm really appreciative of what you guys are doing for me right now, but just know I'm gonna put you back on the list in January. Scotty, Maguire, unfortunately, you're not still part of my plans. You understand? I commend you for making the comeback, but yeah, man, unfortunately, you're just not part of the plans moving forward. So I think the only player that stands a
Mm.
chance of staying in the team is Scott McTominay, with his new revised role, so to say. But
Even Maguire.
Maguire,
Like
I
I
think
think even
I think Maguire, if
Maguire.
we get a defender, it's late for him. It's late for him. I think he'll be shipped. I think he will be sold. I think he'll be sold, and I think
True.
he'll be a really good
Wait, wait,
buy
wait, wait, wait.
for West Ham. I think Moyes is Moyes still the manager of West Ham, by the way. I think Moyes in
Yeah,
January
yeah.
should take an opportunity and say, Are you guys still looking to
You know
offload
what I
Maguire?
you know what
Bring
I
him
don't
here because I'm pretty sure he would definitely be a starter for um for West Ham, 100%.
Maguire will leave if we get in
Yeah,
two defenders,
yeah,
two center backs. I don't see him going if we only
yeah,
get rid of one. Like
yeah.
I
We need to get
don't see
two.
it because we need to start paying
Yes,
attention to Varane. Varane is already sort of
exactly.
like a liability. We are not sure. We're not going to get
Yeah,
100% from Varane. So already we need to start thinking
yes,
of that replacement. Now, if the club, knowing our club
yeah,
how
yeah,
they are cheap, they
yeah,
are broke niggas. They will decide, why should we go and spend on two defenders when we
yeah,
can keep one
yeah,
who is Maguire and then
true.
get another one? Because on Maguire, I think they're going to maybe extend. Like if they're not going to bring in two, Maguire will still be around
Yeah,
until
yeah,
his contract actually
true.
starts fizzling, and
You
then
know what?
there's
I
other
think I
news.
think you're
But
right. I think with the Maguire one, we'll probably keep him for the rest of the season because of like you mentioned, Varane, and then Martinez. We don't know if he's
and
actually going to
Martinez
be up
is
to
long term.
scratch and by the transfer window and even after. So we don't know his availability for the rest of the season, to be honest, because the way it
It's
looks like
long.
Martinez is only going to
It
be
looks
back
long
to full fitness next season. So he's one player
next year. Yeah,
that we were literally writing off for the rest of the season. But yeah,
exit.
but with that being
See,
said, what are your expectations
mm,
now for this club until the end of the season? Where do you see United finish? Or let me put it like this. Where do you see United by the end of the January transfer window? Because I want us to have um another recap in February, right? After two-thirds of the season have passed in the Premier
okay.
League, specifically in the Premier League. Um, yeah, so by February, I want us to have another episode like this. So what are your predictions by Feb? Where do you think the club will be standing? In fact, you know what? Let's just make it for all competitions. Where do you think will be? Because we're already out of the EFL Cup. So where do you think will be in FA Cup, Champions League, and Premier League, and also the players? Like what? Yeah, just give me a sum up of your expectations by then. Like, yeah,
It's very difficult, D. It's very difficult because, like, until I see some sort of improvement with football and the play, that's the best way that I can do it. That's the only confident way I can give. But if I am going to base it just like
yeah,
now, I mean, I've been an advocate of sticking with the manager, and I do believe our season is going to change. I think next year, like beginning of next year, we'll be bouncing around the top
okay,
six. I honestly believe that because I think that we're gonna get some sort of stability. I mean, if we continue being plagued by injuries, then you see that's the thing. This is the thing that is very difficult to predict because you just don't know with the
yeah,
injuries, bro. You just don't know. Last night, Tottenham, one of their best center backs. Okay, obviously Romero was red carded, but that Van de guy,
yeah,
Van de what, chasing, pulls a hammy. Ah, who do they have
yeah,
to replace? Dyer, who hasn't played the
yeah,
whole season. Like that was his first game playing yesterday. I mean, it did well, but look, there were holes.
yeah,
You see, so if we are going to continue getting injuries, it's very
yeah.
difficult. And with with VAR and the red card situation, because I've been very very timid about those guys. I've been just watching them with my side, like thinking, hey man, people need to
Yeah.
watch out for the refs. So I think in the Premier League we'll be just bouncing around the
Okay.
top six next January. Could be, I say top six, and I say that it could be in any of those positions except
Yeah.
probably first. So, but right now we are sort of in the mix. We're in the groove. We're not far
Yeah.
from everybody. It's funny because this game week was the game week that kind of like leveled the playing field. It's like everybody was trying to run away with
Yeah.
it and be funny. Come back to normal, come back to normal. So some big teams lost, which gave the opportunity for us to climb and go. Um, Luton game we're playing away. That game is going to be very difficult
We're
because
playing
for
home.
some weird
We're
reason
playing
that
home.
ground,
Yeah.
we're playing home. Okay. Okay, if we're playing home, then we're going to smash them. But if we go that side,
Yeah.
we're gonna struggle because there's something weird. There's some weird vibe that goes in that pitch. I don't get it. It's weird,
Yeah.
but it's there. And I just like the way we are. Those kind of difficult situations and conditions, we don't
Yeah.
really prevail. Um, Champions League. Oh, Champions League. This thing depends on today's win. I
Yeah.
mean tomorrow's win. But if we say we are to win, yes, tomorrow, and obviously the football has changed. Like there's that immediate 180, like a significant change. You know what I'm talking about when I say
Yeah.
significant change. Where when we're looking at the game, we're like, hey, no, hey, the guys were
Yeah.
on it today. Where it's just undeniable that these guys were just so good.
Yeah.
Those kind of games. If we were to have those kind of games, then it's like from
Yeah.
now on in, then the Champions League, man, like the sky is the limit. Like we
Yeah.
can go very far. So, but okay, because you're asking me about a prediction, I will say last 16. That's as
Okay.
far as I can go. I don't know. Yeah, I think we'll make it into the
Yeah.
last 16. But our opponent, like the next, is going to be difficult because I think we will be playing the winner of Group B. And Group B, is it the one with Real Madrid and Sevilla?
Let me just check real quick, but you can go on to make your point while I check.
Like whoever it is that we're playing that's outside that league. Like, because if we're, by saying we're going to
S-
qualify for the last 16 means that
s-
we're going to be second. There's no way we're
Yeah,
first because
so
Bayern
Group
is going to
B
be
is the
first.
Arsenal group. Arsenal, Lens, Sevilla, PSV, and
Okay.
none of
So
those
no, that
teams
one's
are a
not bad.
slouch, and we don't have a good record against Sevilla and
And
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Arsenal are
Yeah,
going to be a prick, So you see where I'm going with that. So it becomes a little bit difficult. So yeah, last 16. I see us making it to the last 16. FA Cup, that one is tricky. I can't
yeah,
really tell because yeah, no, FA Cup is tricky. It's anybody like that one is. One thing I like about the FA Cup is that all the football teams in England get to
yeah,
play against each other. Lowest of the lowest plays against the
yeah,
toppest the top. I love that. Like I love that exchange of like these professional players can get to go and
yeah,
play in these lower team and sort of give them some sort of because when you play the best, you kind of
yeah,
become good. You gain experience from it. You be like, hey, we played this. So in terms of that, I can't really tell because the FA
yeah.
Cup, you know how it is. But let's just say fifth
Okay.
round. We'll make it up until fifth round because that's usually fifth round,
Yeah.
fifth, sixth. Is it after fifth? That's when we jump into the quarters, or is it after sixth?
Mm. Yeah, I also
I
forgot.
forgot. Yeah. So I just before we get it to any of those
Yeah,
quarterfinal games, I think that's the final hurdle
yeah,
before the
yeah,
quarterfinal games. That's where United will be playing. That's where we usually either if we're going to make it far in the FA Cup, we have
yeah,
to win that game, or we lose. Like if we lose it, we know it's clear. But usually when we win it, we kind of progress maybe up
yeah.
until the semis, then quarter,
I
then
hear you.
yeah. So yeah,
All right.
just before there. But Premier League
Yeah,
top six,
yeah,
not first, and I think I could say not second, but there's an argument to be had because number one is nine
yeah,
points ahead of
yeah,
us right now. What's 9 points? What is
yeah,
9 points? Like I know, like it's
yeah.
so close. That's why I'm saying
Okay.
top six. Like the margins are so close. It just takes for us to be
Yeah,
consistent in two games, which will be Everton and Luton. Everton are going to be we're playing Everton away. So that one we really need our A game because Everton are sort of picking up some
yeah,
weird momentum, you know? They're growing wings somehow. So we need to put an end to that. Luton, and then obviously this month we have Copenhagen, Everton, Luton,
right.
and
Yeah,
Galatasaray. I think those games, all four
yeah,
games, are winnable. I really do. And I think if we can go through, like if we were to win all
yeah,
these four games, I think my prediction will look even more enticing. It will look even more
yeah.
tangible.
All right. Now I hear you.
Yeah.
So I think in FA Cup, probably the same prediction as you have. Champions League.
Mm.
Whew, oh boy. I want to believe we're gonna get out of the group stage. Man, and like you said, it rides on tomorrow's game. It rides on tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
And you know what? United
Yeah.
still haven't convinced me enough that we're gonna go and get a win at
Exactly.
Copenhagen. So
Right. It's so hard. Your question
I'm
was
going
so
to say
hard.
that United are gonna get knocked out of Champions League. We're not gonna make it to the round of 16. And you know what, Ben? And I say this with the utmost love possible that it's a good thing out of
Respect.
respect. For me, it's a good thing we're not gonna
Yes.
make it to the round of 16 because honestly, like you know what, Ben? You
Mm.
know, if we are going
Before
if we
we
are
go
gonna
to
meet a
Europa.
team from Group B, maybe it won't be too bad to advance. But my fear is we go and meet like a Real Madrid because they will rinse us properly. That aggregate will be a joke, fam. And I don't want that.
We might as
And
well
I
get
don't want that.
through. I think we should
I
get
would
through the
rather
cup
us just get knocked
because if
out
we
than
make it through the
us to
cup,
like build this like expectation of maybe. And then we go
yeah,
and meet Real Madrid
yeah,
and they just make us look like schoolboys. You know what I mean? Like they just absolutely run circles. But fam, I'm scared of that Madrid team. I do not want to meet that Madrid team. I'm not shitting you. Yeah,
Okay, D. All right. We get demoted
yeah.
to Europa. So
I
it's
would I
back
would
to
rather
Thursday
get
night
I would rather
football
be
with
demoted and
fun.
get knocked out of Europa because I know it would be I know
But
I know
will
no,
that be
not
the
that,
mentality?
look, I'm not
These
I'm not
guys will be like,
advocating
nah.
for it, but I just know if you get knocked out of Europa, it will be like a nice knockout. You know what I mean? A it'll be a cushioned knockout. It would be like a 1-0 knockout. You understand? It'll be that thing of we got knocked out like a last minute thing. You know, the opposition went and scored a goal or it came
Mm,
down to penalties. You understand what I mean? It's gonna be one of
mm,
those knockouts where it could have gone either way, split decision boxing type things. But Champions League is gonna be so clear and decisive. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get knocked out, fam. We're gonna get Mike Tyson knocked out. You Jake. And I don't want that. I do not want like what are you guys doing here? Didn't we tell you not to come back to Champions League? What are you doing here? You know what I mean? Getting knocked out like a bouncer, fam from a club. I don't want that type of drama, fam. I do
mm,
not want that type of heat, you know. So I'd rather we get knocked out of Europa,
yeah.
and then just end the league fighting for spaces. In terms of the Premier League, yeah. So our next fixtures, obviously, like you mentioned, Luton, Everton, Premier League features for this month. Next month, December, we're playing Newcastle away. We're playing Chelsea home. We're playing Bournemouth home. We're playing Liverpool away. We're playing West Ham away,
Mm.
and we're gonna play Aston Villa home, and then we're gonna end the last match of the year against Nottingham Forest away. Now, looking at these fixtures coming up, I say we're still gonna be eighth.
My
We're still
God.
gonna be eighth by January. We're starting off the year by playing Spurs. It's gonna be a home match, and then it's gonna be Wolves away, and then we're gonna jump into February. So, looking at the fixtures, up until February when we're gonna have our recap, I see us staying eighth. I see us staying eighth. I don't see us moving up a spot because
All
when you
right.
look at the two teams that are ahead of us, the three teams actually, it's Brighton, Newcastle, Aston Villa. Those are the three teams that are currently ahead of us. I don't know what their fixture list looks like in the next months to come, but if they're going to have better fixtures than us, I see them not dropping a beat. I see them not dropping the ball because the only team maybe we could maybe advance to seventh, because we're tie points with Brighton, but obviously they have a better goal difference than us, right? They're the only team maybe we could go ahead by January, maybe. But everybody else, the way they're playing compared to the way we are playing, plus our long line of injuries, and we don't even know when a lot of them are gonna be back from that. I don't see us moving any places. I honestly, genuinely do not. Because a lot of these games that I mentioned, I'm either seeing a loss or a draw. There's no team here that I'm comfortable we're going to say we want to get a win. Maybe Luton. Maybe we want to beat Luton because we're playing home. But Everton, not sure. Newcastle, we're playing them home. That one we're getting smashed. You know? Remember what I told you about the Newcastle Arsenal match? Yes, I know it was a VAR, whatever, But remember, I told you that I think Newcastle want to win this match because Arsenal are not looking enticing and Newcastle are motherfucking hungry. You
No,
understand what
but
I'm?
yeah, I think I agreed with you because the way they took
Yeah,
us at United
I'm like,
from the back with that
fam.
training
I'm
team.
like, I'm like,
Seriously?
Arsenal
Even
are going
against
to have a
Arsenal, like
problem beating this team. You know, they're
Newcastle
the
are
dark
the dark
horse.
horse this season. Like top
dude,
four.
dude.
Watch
So
out.
we're playing
Watch
Newcastle
out.
away. That's in December. We're gonna lose. Then we're gonna play Chelsea home. Regardless, we've clearly lost that fortress. Chelsea are gonna beat us. Then we're gonna play Bournemouth. We could
Nah,
we could get a
nah, nah,
result.
nah, nah. Nah,
Okay,
nah.
no, fair enough. Fair
Not
enough. It's
Chelsea.
fine. We could get a result at
Yeah.
Bournemouth. Then we're gonna play Liverpool at Anfield. We are getting smashed.
Wait, 1 month are we playing away or
Bournemouth.
home?
We're playing home. We're playing
We'll
home.
smash them. If we play away, it's
Okay.
gonna
No,
be
I get
difficult.
you. Then
You'll
December,
see.
oh yeah, yeah, I already mentioned the December ones. Then and look at this one, Ben, because we're gonna play Bayern in the Champions League before we play Liverpool, and that's in the space of 5 days. Luckily, we're playing home, right? And also, lucky Liverpool's not far from Manchester. It's a short drive, but Liverpool are gonna smash us. It's Anfield, so already I'm seeing games here that's Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool. That's 9 points we're not gonna get, and then Everton is unsure, and then Bournemouth, yes, even want to smash Bournemouth, I'm also unsure. Then after Liverpool, we're gonna face West Ham. That's an away match. West Ham again, I'm not sure, right? And then it's going to be Aston Villa, who are playing better football than us. We're playing home, but like I said, teams have come to United and have made us look stupid. So I'm not sure about Aston Villa. Then we end the year off with Nottingham Forest, and that's an away match. And again, those guys, we almost lost to them because remember they scored. Is that the game that we came back and drew or won? Because they scored.
Three
Sorry,
two,
3-2. Yeah, because remember they
three
scored
two.
the two early goals, and then we were fortunate to go and score 3 goals, and that was very early on. So clearly, they have the ambition and the firepower to go and do damage against us. So that Nottingham game away, I'm not sure. And then we enter January. We're playing Spurs. Even though we're playing home, Madison Son, let's not even talk. And then we're playing Wolves away, and Wolves is a problem. And then we start February. Yeah, those are the only two Premier League matches in January, and then that's it. And then February starts, and we're gonna be doing the next recap. So looking at those fixtures, right? Spurs were losing, Aston Villa were losing, West Ham were not sure, Liverpool were losing, Bournemouth not sure, Chelsea were losing, Newcastle were losing, Everton were not sure. Luton's the only match I'm convinced we can get 3 points. Luton and maybe Bournemouth. Is 6 points
Wow.
enough for us to take us to sixth, knowing that Brighton, Newcastle, and Aston Villa are points ahead of us and also have a better goal difference? So that's why I'm saying we're probably still gonna be eighth. If we're lucky, we might go to seventh.
I know. I hear you, and I like. I understand where your thinking is at, but you see, the reason why I have a different perspective was because I was waiting for a game week like
Yeah,
this weekend, a game week where we get to see the holes in a lot of teams. Villa has shown that. Liverpool, they showed that they're not as strong because they are strong, yes, but then when you look at the Premier League right now, D, yes, everybody else has strengthened and looks stronger than us, but then you'd expect that everybody would be
yeah,
miles away from us. Just considering how much there was so much
true.
noise around United, like, hey, get
Yeah,
rid of the manager, and then when you look at the numbers, you're like,
dude.
get the fuck out of here, get rid of him. What? This guy is 9
Yeah,
points away
yeah,
from
yeah,
one. What are
yeah,
you talking about? He's 6 points away from top four. What are
yeah,
you talking about? It just takes a draw and a loss
true.
for a couple of these games. And this game week, it showed me that we're going to have this more
Yeah,
of this game week. Not that I'm wishing it
yeah,
upon us, no. But you look at the schedule, you look at how much football they are
yeah,
bringing into this whole thing. This is not about it's about oh, my team is like this or nah, it's about everybody. Everyone is going to be
yeah,
affected. Now, the good thing or the thing that I kind of like take pride in ourselves is I think,
yeah,
and correct me if I'm wrong, we are the one club so far that hasn't played its full card, like
yeah,
its full hand. Everybody else has. We know what everybody else is capable of. Like they have taken out all
yeah,
their guns blazing. And then, okay, for example, like they've had their full squads, they've played with them, got into some sort of rhythm, then maybe started
yeah,
experiencing injuries. Whereas for us, we didn't even
yeah,
start like that.
yeah,
Do you understand? Like we didn't start with the full and polished United fit on form, United
yeah,
best 11. No, we haven't had that. So and you take into consideration that okay, we're still hanging in there and we are still waiting for some people to come in because yeah, we have a lot of people outside, but I still believe like those guys that are injured are still going to
yeah.
come in and add. Like they're going to give us that extra value or extra
I hear you.
boost. And then when I look at those that thing and look at the fact that we haven't really played our cards. Because when we now get our players back and everybody else, people will be thinking like we're a new team. People are going to start sort of um it'll be weird.
Mm,
Trust me, it's gonna happen. It's almost going to look like people are trying to figure out how to beat United. When in actual fact, we're just very simple. We just have our solid back line, and for some reason, everybody else is comfortable. Things are clicking. Rashford has got out of his ass. He's
yeah,
thinking with his head, and he's scoring goals. Everybody's just ticking. People, what is it? Who? We need to stop Rashford. Last season, Xavi talking about we need to stop Rashford.
yeah,
He's the danger man. I don't think anybody's
yeah,
talking about that right now. But then once we start to get into some sort of rhythm, we're gonna get back into that place where people are trying to
yeah,
debunk United. And there's nothing to debunk. It's just simple football. Everybody else is going
yeah,
through the same thing. So this game week showed me the likes of Aston Villa losing to
yeah,
these small teams. You know, I hear what you were saying. Like I totally heard you. Like we could be still in those positions. But then just with the results of this game week, I'm confident that the other teams also around us are not going to have a smooth
yeah,
sailing season. You know, like it will all depend on who you
yeah.
have in your locker. If you've got injured players, hard is unfortunately you're going to
True.
keep on struggling. But then if your injuries are coming back or you don't have injuries, you are going to be the most consistent one. You are the one who's going to get the most results and the
Yeah,
most what. And United, we started off bad. We started off with the injuries. Those guys
yeah,
are coming back. So the only for United, it can
yeah,
only go up from here.
yeah,
You understand? That's how I see it. Like only it's one of those things where it's a weird one by saying that give the manager his tool so he can sack himself. Nah. But in terms of Eric Ten Hag, he's waiting for his senior most important players, Luke Shaw, Varane, what,
yeah,
everybody to be there. Once everybody's there, now we will give you the proper criticism because you have got no excuses. Or everybody that you consider or important in your squad is there. You have to produce the style of footballing. You need to start. We need to start seeing the style of play because now you're not chopping and changing, right? You've got everybody that you said that you want. Everybody's back. So get that. And we need to start seeing us winning. We need to start scoring or whatever it is. Like at that point, every other criticism that will come the manager's way will be warranted. But for right now, obviously, it's gonna be it's it. I feel it's unfair because every other team is going.
yeah,
Man, D,
yeah,
we've talked about this. You can miss one player. Like one player is enough to
yeah,
derail a team. People think that that is a joke. People think that that is like child's play, but it is
yeah,
real. It is real. And we are missing how many?
yeah,
Five. Half the starting 11 is out.
yeah,
Come on. Come on. If those guys come back, like I'm telling you, I'll be sitting here smiling like David Beckham when he was
yeah,
watching his goal in his documentary. I just
yeah,
smile. Just I'll be doing that. I'm like, you see, I was telling you,
yeah, yeah,
mice,
yeah.
mice. So, well,
All right,
that's
all
my
right.
take. That's why I see us bouncing around.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I should have said. I mean, I by putting it top six, I was just trying to, I guess maybe um like tell myself that the jump that's going to be there is
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
significant. But what I should have said like is yeah, we will be
Between,
bouncing in
yeah,
between the top
yeah,
eight where we are. But I just feel like we will not
yeah,
remain eighth. We will
yeah,
be yeah. It
yeah,
could be
yeah,
any
yeah,
number
yeah.
in
All right,
between there,
yeah,
just
yeah.
not
No,
eight.
I got you. But
Yes.
I also considered
Yeah.
that yes, the other teams won't have a smooth sailing, but because they're points ahead of
Mm,
us and goal difference ahead of us, that even
yeah.
if we tie
Yeah.
points with them, their goal difference is still significantly
Mm,
better than ours, which still keeps us at that position. So we could close the gap, but we're still eighth, if that makes sense. So you'll find between eighth and fourth, that gap has been reduced to maybe a point or two. And now you just have all of those teams, same points. The only thing that's separating them is the goals. You check. So that's sort of how I
mm,
looked at it. But anyway, That's been the season recap. It's been a hell of a long episode, but yeah,
Yeah,
we needed this amount of time to
yeah,
recap where we currently are. Our thoughts of where we thought we would be by now, how we thought the season would be going. So we just wanted to give you guys like an insight of everything that's been happening up until this point, and how we think and believe the club will be by the next time we have this long conversation. So we should definitely make this a regular thing every season, to say we should have an episode
yeah,
where we
yeah,
talk about our expectations for the season. We have like after one third of the season has passed, and then after the transfer window, and then of
mm,
course our season recap at the end of it all. But yeah, I think I've said everything that needs to be said. If there's any last remarks from your end before we close this off. All right, cool.
nope,
So yeah, thanks once again for listening to this episode of the Glory Reds podcast. Don't forget you can catch us on all your favorite podcast and streaming platforms for Glory Reds FC. And yeah, hopefully um we've won against Copenhagen, because obviously this episode's gonna be aired or uploaded after the Copenhagen match. So yeah, let's just hope that it's not just
yeah.
something new. And with that being said, thank you guys for listening to this episode, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.